Tom had always considered himself a reasonable man. He paid his bills on time, recycled religiously, and even volunteered to water Mrs. Henderson's plants when she went on vacation. But there was one thing Tom couldn't stand: injustice. And in his quiet suburban neighborhood, injustice had a name: Karen. Karen wasn't just any Karen. She was the Karen. The kind of Karen who would return a half-eaten sandwich to a restaurant and demand a refund. The kind of Karen who would call the cops on kids selling lemonade without a permit. And, as Tom would soon discover, the kind of Karen who thought it was perfectly acceptable to steal her neighbor's electricity to charge her shiny new Tesla. It all started one sunny Tuesday morning. Tom was sipping his coffee on the porch, enjoying the peaceful hum of the neighborhood, when he noticed something unusual. Karen's Tesla was parked suspiciously close to his house, and a thick, shiny cable snaked its way from her car to his outdoor electrical outlet. "Ha!" Tom muttered, squinting at the scene. "That's new." At first, Tom gave Karen the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was an emergency. Maybe her charger was broken. Maybe she was just temporarily borrowing his electricity. But as the days turned into weeks, Tom realized this was no one-time thing. Karen had turned his outlet into her personal charging station. Tom's first attempt to address the issue was diplomatic. He approached Karen with a friendly smile and said, "Hey, Karen, I noticed you've been using my outlet to charge your car. Mind giving me a heads up next time?" Karen, who was busy rearranging her collection of live, laugh, love signs in her front yard, didn't even look up. "Oh, Tom, don't be so dramatic. It's just a little electricity. You're not going to miss it." Tom blinked. "A little electricity? Karen, my bill went up by $50 last month." Karen finally turned to him, her face a perfect mask of condescension. "Well, maybe you should cut back on your energy usage. Ever heard of being eco-friendly?" Tom opened his mouth to respond, but Karen was already marching back into her house, her flowy bohemian skirt billowing behind her like the cape of a superhero who fought for the right to be obnoxious. That was the moment Tom decided enough was enough. He wasn't going to let Karen walk all over him, or, in this case, drive her Tesla all over his electricity. But Tom wasn't the kind of guy to start a shouting match or file a complaint with the HOA. No, Tom was a strategist. He believed in the art of subtle, well-executed revenge. Over the next few days, Tom began to plot. He started by monitoring Karen's charging habits. Like clockwork, she would plug in her Tesla every evening at 7 p.m., right after her daily yoga session. Tom also noticed that Karen never stayed outside while her car charged. She would plug it in, then retreat to her house to binge-watch reality TV shows about people yelling at each other over cake. Tom's plan began to take shape. He reached out to his old college friend, Greg, who happened to be an electrical engineer. Greg was the kind of guy who could turn a toaster into a spaceship if he wanted to, and he was more than happy to help Tom teach Karen a lesson. "So, what you're saying," Greg said during their phone call, "is that you want to mess with Karen's car without actually damaging it?" "Exactly," Tom replied. "I want her to think twice before stealing my electricity again." Greg chuckled. "I like it. Let's give her a little shock therapy." Together, Tom and Greg devised a plan. They would install a remote-controlled device on Tom's outdoor outlet that could regulate the flow of electricity. When Karen plugged in her car, Tom could use his phone to control the voltage, making her charging experience less than pleasant. Greg also suggested adding a few extra touches to really sell the prank. "What kind of extra touches?" Tom asked. Greg grinned. "Let's just say Karen's going to think her car is haunted." Tom couldn't help but laugh. This was going to be good. The installation took a few hours, but by the end of the day, Tom's outlet was equipped with Greg's high-tech gadgetry. Tom tested the system, and it worked like a charm. With a few taps on his phone, he could make the outlet deliver a steady stream of electricity, or turn it into a chaotic, sputtering mess. As the sun set that evening, Tom sat on his porch, waiting for Karen to make her move. Right on schedule, she emerged from her house, yoga mat in hand, and headed straight for her Tesla. Tom watched as she plugged in her car, then turned and strutted back inside without a second glance. Tom smiled. Game on, Karen. He pulled out his phone, opened the app Greg had set up, and tapped the screen. Almost immediately, the Tesla's lights began to flicker. The charging port made a series of strange clicking noises, and the car's display screen lit up with random error messages. Tom's plan was in full swing. As he sat on his porch, sipping his coffee and watching Karen's Tesla sputter and flicker like a dying disco ball, he couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. This was no ordinary prank. This was art. And Karen was about to become its unwilling muse. Inside her house, Karen was blissfully unaware of the chaos unfolding in her driveway. She was too busy scrolling through her phone, looking for new ways to passive-aggressively criticize her neighbors on the HOA Facebook group. But then, she heard it. A strange, high-pitched whine coming from outside. "What they?" Karen muttered, setting down her phone. She walked to the window and peered outside. Her Tesla was still plugged in, but something was definitely wrong. The car's headlights were flickering on and off, and the charging port was emitting a series of ominous beeps. Karen frowned. "Stupid technology," she grumbled, grabbing her flip-flops and heading outside to investigate. As she approached the car, the flickering intensified. The Tesla's display screen lit up with a series of cryptic error messages. System overload. Seek immediate assistance. Then, in bold red letters, warning, paranormal activity detected. Karen froze. Paranormal activity? What is this, a bad horror movie? Before she could react, the car's speakers crackled to life, emitting a low, guttural voice that seemed to come from the depths of the underworld. "Karen, stop stealing electricity, or face the consequences." Karen's eyes widened. "What the hell?" she shrieked, stumbling backward. She yanked the charging cable out of the car, but the voice continued. "You can't escape, Karen." At this point, Karen was in full panic mode. She ran back into her house, slamming the door behind her. From his porch, Tom watched the entire scene unfold, trying, and failing, to suppress his laughter. He pulled out his phone and sent a quick text to Greg. "Phase 1 complete. She thinks her car is haunted." Greg replied almost immediately, "Phase 2 incoming. Let's crank it up a notch." The next morning, Karen was still shaken. She had spent the night Googling haunted Tesla and ghosts in electric cars, convinced that her vehicle was possessed by some kind of eco-friendly poltergeist. Determined to get to the bottom of the mystery, she decided to take her car to the dealership. But as soon as she got behind the wheel, the strangeness resumed. The radio turned on by itself, blasting an eerie rendition of Highway to Hell. The GPS screen displayed a single message, destination, karma. And then, the voice returned. "Karen, your reckoning is near." Karen screamed and jumped out of the car, leaving it running in the middle of the driveway. She ran to Tom's house, pounding on his door like a woman possessed. Tom, you have to help me." Tom opened the door, doing his best to look concerned. "Karen, what's wrong?" "It's my car," Karen gasped. It's haunted. There's a ghost in my Tesla." Tom raised an eyebrow. "A ghost? In your car? Are you sure it's not just, I don't know, a software glitch?" Karen shook her head frantically. "No, it's a ghost. It knows my name, Tom. It told me to stop stealing electricity." Tom pretended to think for a moment. That's strange. Maybe it's karma?" Karen glared at him. "This is not the time for jokes, Tom. I need your help." Tom sighed. All right, let's take a look." As they walked back to Karen's driveway, Tom couldn't help but feel a little smug. His plan was working perfectly, but he wasn't done yet. He pulled out his phone and discreetly activated Phase 2. As they approached the Tesla, the car's doors suddenly locked themselves. The headlights flashed in a rhythmic pattern, and the voice returned, louder than ever. "Karen, you have been judged and found guilty." Karen clutched Tom's arm. "Do something." Tom shrugged. "I don't know, Karen. Maybe you should apologize." "Apologize? To a car?" "No," Tom said, trying to keep a straight face. To whoever or whatever you've wronged. Maybe the ghost is upset because you've been, I don't know, stealing electricity? Karen's eyes widened. You think that's it? You think the ghost is mad because I've been using your outlet? Tom shrugged again. Could be. Ghosts are very particular about energy usage, you know? Karen hesitated, then turned to the car. All right, fine. I'm sorry for using your electricity. Okay? I won't do it again. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the car's lights stopped flickering, and the voice said, "Apology, accepted." The doors unlocked with a soft click. Karen let out a sigh of relief. Oh, thank goodness. It's over. Tom nodded solemnly. Looks like it. But just to be safe, maybe you should, I don't know, stop stealing electricity? Karen shot him a dirty look but didn't argue. Fine, I'll stop. Happy now. Tom smiled. Ecstatic. As Karen retreated back into her house, Tom pulled out his phone and sent one last text to Greg. Mission accomplished. Karen's officially scared straight. Greg replied with a laughing emoji. Nice work, buddy. Let me know if she ever tries to steal your Wi-Fi next. Tom chuckled and put his phone away. He couldn't remember the last time he'd had this much fun. And the best part? His electricity bill was finally safe from Karen's clutches. Karen's encounter with her haunted Tesla left her thoroughly spooked. For days, she avoided her car, opting to walk to the grocery store and even canceling her weekly yoga classes. But as much as she tried to put the incident behind her, the memory of that eerie voice kept creeping back into her mind. Karen, stop stealing electricity. Meanwhile, Tom was enjoying the fruits of his labor. Not only had Karen stopped using his outlet, but she had also become the talk of the neighborhood, albeit unknowingly. Word of her haunted car had spread like wildfire, thanks to a few strategically placed comments by Tom on the HOA Facebook group. Has anyone else noticed strange noises coming from Karen's Tesla? Just me? Okay. Never mind. The neighborhood was abuzz with speculation. Mrs. Henderson claimed she saw a ghostly figure hovering near Karen's driveway. Old Mr. Jenkins swore he heard the Tesla whispering Shakespearean insults. And the kids on the block had started daring each other to touch the car after dark. Karen, of course, was oblivious to the gossip. She was too busy trying to convince herself that the whole thing had been a bizarre dream. But then, one fateful evening, her paranoia reached a boiling point. It all started when Karen decided to brave her Tesla again. She needed to pick up a new love sign from the craft store, and walking wasn't an option. With trembling hands, she unlocked the car and slid into the driver's seat. The moment she turned the key, the radio blared to life, playing Ghostbusters at full volume. Karen screamed and fumbled with the controls, but the volume only increased. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! The song blared, as the car's interior lights flashed in time with the music. Tom! Karen shrieked, running out of the car and across the street. Tom! It's happening again! Tom, who had been enjoying a quiet evening on his porch, looked up with feigned concern. What's wrong now, Karen? My car. It's possessed. It's playing Ghostbusters, and I can't make it stop. Tom suppressed a grin. That's strange. Maybe it's trying to tell you something. Karen glared at him. This isn't funny, Tom. I need your help. Tom sighed dramatically. All right, let's take a look. As they approached the Tesla, the music stopped abruptly, and the car's display screen lit up with a single word, BOO. Karen let out a strangled yelp. Did you see that? It said boo. What kind of car says boo? Tom scratched his head. I don't know, Karen. Maybe it's trying to communicate with you. Communicate? Karen shrieked. It's a car, not a Ouija board. Before Tom could respond, the car's headlights flickered, and the voice returned. Karen, you have been warned. The spirits are watching. Karen grabbed Tom's arm. Do something, please. Tom pretended to think for a moment. All right, I have an idea, but you're not going to like it. What? What is it? We need to perform an exorcism. Karen's eyes widened. An exorcism? On a car? Tom nodded solemnly. It's the only way to rid your Tesla of this spectral presence. Karen hesitated, then nodded reluctantly. Fine, just make it stop. Tom quickly gathered the necessary supplies. A bottle of holy water, actually just tap water in a fancy bottle, a feather duster to ward off evil spirits, and a Bluetooth speaker hidden in his pocket. He also invited a few neighbors to assist with the exorcism, knowing full well they would spread the story far and wide. As a small crowd gathered in Karen's driveway, Tom began the ritual. He sprinkled the holy water on the car, waved the feather duster around dramatically, and chanted nonsense phrases in Latin. Carpe diem, e pluribus unum, Hakuna Matata. Karen watched nervously, clutching her live, laugh, love, tote bag like a security blanket. The neighbors whispered among themselves, some snapping photos and recording videos. Finally, Tom declared, "The spirits have been appeased. Your car is now free of paranormal activity." As if on cue, the Tesla's lights flickered one last time, and the voice said, "Farewell, Karen. Remember your promise." Karen let out a sigh of relief. "Oh, thank goodness. It's over." Tom nodded. "Yes, but remember, no more stealing electricity. The spirits are always watching." Karen nodded fervently. "I promise. No more stealing. Ever." As the crowd dispersed, Tom couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. Not only had he taught Karen a lesson, but he had also turned her into the neighborhood's most entertaining spectacle. The videos of the exorcism quickly went viral on social media, and Karen became an unwitting internet sensation. That night, as Tom sat on his porch, sipping his coffee and scrolling through the hilarious comments on the videos, he received a text from Greg. "Dude, you're a genius. This is the best thing I've ever seen." Tom smiled and replied, "Thanks, buddy. But the best part? My electricity bill is safe." Karen's haunted Tesla saga had turned her into the laughingstock of the neighborhood and the internet. The videos of her car exorcism had gone viral, with millions of views and countless memes. When Karen steals your electricity but the ghosts are on your side. Even her HOA friends couldn't resist sharing the clips, though they claimed it was to raise awareness about the dangers of haunted cars. At first, Karen tried to ignore the ridicule. She deleted her social media accounts, avoided eye contact with her neighbors, and even considered moving to a new town. But deep down, she was seething. She knew Tom was behind the whole thing, and she was determined to get her revenge. One evening, Karen marched over to Tom's house, her flowy bohemian skirt billowing behind her like the cape of a villain in a low-budget soap opera. She pounded on his door with the force of someone who had spent too much time at spin class. "Tom, open up. I know you're in there," she shouted. Tom opened the door, looking as calm as ever. "Karen, what's wrong now? Did your car start quoting Shakespeare again?" Karen glared at him. "This isn't funny, Tom. I know you're behind all of this. The haunted car, the exorcism, the memes. It was you." Tom feigned innocence. "Me? Karen. I'm just a humble neighbor trying to live his best life. Why would I do something like that?" Karen crossed her arms. "Don't play dumb with me. You've been messing with my car because I used your electricity. Well, guess what? I'm done being the butt of your jokes. It's time for payback." Tom raised an eyebrow. "Payback? What are you going to do, Karen? Steal my Wi-Fi?" Karen smirked. "Oh no, this is much bigger than that." The next morning, Tom woke up to find his front yard covered in pink flamingos. Not just a few flamingos, hundreds of them. They were everywhere. Perched on his mailbox, standing in his flower beds, even floating in his bird bath. Attached to each flamingo was a note that read, "Tom's Yard, the new home of the neighborhood flamingo parade." Tom stared at the scene, trying to process what he was seeing. Then his phone buzzed. It was a text from Greg. "Dude, have you seen your yard? Karen's gone full flamingo warfare." Tom chuckled and replied, "Yeah, I see it. Guess she's not done with me yet." As he walked outside to assess the damage, a group of neighbors gathered to take pictures and laugh. Mrs. Henderson even brought popcorn. "This is better than reality TV," she exclaimed. Tom decided to lean into the absurdity. He put on a pair of sunglasses, grabbed a lawn chair, and sat among the flamingos like a king on his throne. "Welcome to Tom's Flamingo Sanctuary," he announced to the crowd. "Admission is free, but donations are appreciated." The neighbors erupted in laughter, and someone started a live stream on social media. Within minutes, #FlamingoTom was trending. Karen, watching from her window, was furious. Her plan to embarrass Tom had backfired spectacularly. Instead of humiliating him, she had turned him into a local celebrity. She needed a new strategy, and fast. That's when she remembered the HOA's annual talent show. It was the perfect opportunity to reclaim her dignity and show everyone that she wasn't just the haunted Tesla lady. She signed up immediately, choosing to perform a dramatic monologue about herself. The night of the talent show arrived, and the neighborhood gathered in the community center. Karen took the stage, dressed in a flowing white gown that made her look like a cross between a Greek goddess and a wedding cake. She cleared her throat and began her monologue. "Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today as a woman wronged, a woman who has been mocked, ridiculed, and haunted, yes, haunted by the actions of one man. But I am here to tell you that I will not be silenced. I will not be defeated. I am Karen. Hear me roar." The audience was silent, unsure whether to clap or cringe. Then, from the back of the room, Tom stood up. "Karen, this is a talent show, not a therapy session." The crowd burst into laughter, and Karen's face turned as red as a stop sign. "This isn't over, Tom," she shouted before storming off the stage. As the talent show continued, Tom decided it was time to end the feud once and for all. He took the stage holding a small remote control. "Ladies and gentlemen, for my talent, I present to you the grand finale." He pressed a button, and Karen's Tesla, parked outside, came to life. The headlights flashed, the horn honked, and the voice returned, "Karen, the spirits have one last message for you." The audience rushed outside to watch as the Tesla's display screen lit up with the words, "Thanks for the laughs, Karen. Let's call it even." Karen, standing in the crowd, looked like she was about to explode. But then, something unexpected happened. She started laughing. It was a genuine, hearty laugh that caught everyone off guard. "All right, Tom," she said, wiping tears from her eyes. "You win. But next time, I'm stealing your Wi-Fi." The crowd erupted in applause, and Tom took a bow. The feud was over, and the neighborhood had a story they would never forget. The videos of Karen's monologue, Tom's Flamingo Sanctuary, and the Tesla's final message went viral, racking up millions of views. People couldn't get enough of the hilarious feud, and Tom became an internet legend. As for Karen, she eventually embraced her newfound fame. She even started selling Haunted Tesla merch with slogans like, "Karen, stop stealing electricity," and "I survived the exorcism." Tom, meanwhile, enjoyed his status as the neighborhood's resident prankster, but he always made sure to keep his Wi-Fi password extra secure, just in case. If you enjoyed this hilarious tale of revenge and flamingos, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more laugh-out-loud stories, and let us know in the comments. What would you do if your neighbor stole your electricity? Would you go full Tom or try to reason with them? Stay tuned for more neighborhood drama, and remember, the spirits are always watching. Ghost.